Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everyone in today's class for the first intermediate grade. Our textbook is Super Goal 2 and today we will cover unit What Did You Do Last Week? Reading. This lesson will be presented by me, teacher Mazra Harbi, so let's begin. Our objectives in today's lesson, we hope that at the end of this lesson you will be able to, number one, read the text about favorite foods around the world and answer questions about the text and also start a discussion about food. Before we do this, let's make quick revision on our last lesson. Last lesson, we have listened to a conversation between Sam and Amr, where both Sam and Amr talk about the activities that they did last week. And one of the activities that Sam did is that he invited a friend to an Indian restaurant, and we have learned that his friend did not like the kind of food that they serve on that restaurant. So he ends up eating only the rice. So this was the conversation we have listened to from our last lesson. Not only this, but also we have another exercise where I ask you to try to ask or to call a family member, maybe a friend or maybe a classmate, and you ask him a similar question about the kind of activities that they did last week. So I said that you can start with the question of our unit. What did you do last week? And then you can add more questions as he answers, and then more questions like, for example, did you get up late on Saturday, for example? Did you do this? Did you do that? So you can see yourself when you ask these questions that you will end up making a conversation similar to the conversation we had between Sam and Amr. And I hope that you did this and you come up with a very interesting conversation between you and your classmate. Not only this, but also in the last part of our previous lesson where I ask you to do certain questions, and I said that these questions test your memory, whether you can remember the things that you did recently in before maybe day or two. So it is very interesting that you can test yourself asking these questions just to see how good your memory is. Not only this, but I also ask you to make it more interesting, to make it more fun, to invite a partner, maybe a family member or a classmate or a friend, and you can make him ask you these questions, and the time that you answer any of these questions, you go to the number of that question and you put the tick mark. And when he finish asking you all of these questions, now it is your turn to ask him in return the same question, and then you put a tick mark on his column. So this was the exercise I asked you to do last time, just to make it fun and also to make it enjoyable for everyone. So for our lesson today, I would like you please to open your books on page 69. I would like you please to open your books on page 69. On page 69, as you can see, you will see a lot of pictures about different food. So let me ask you this. Do you like different kinds of ethnic dishes like sushi, pizza, and curry? And which do you like best? So when I said that different kinds of ethnic dishes, it means that these dishes that comes from different parts of the world. So for example, here we're talking about, or as you can see, when we're talking about sushi, it comes from Asia, and when you're talking about pizza, it comes from Europe, and when talking about curry, it also came from Asia. So here we have different different ethnic of these ethnic foods, or that food that comes these foods that comes from different parts of the world. So tell me about yourself. Do you like it? Do you like to have or to eat from different parts of the world, or you like only a specific food from a certain part or a certain region? And if you do like these different kinds of food from different parts of the world, which one do you like the best? Which one that you always or you try to always eat that certain food? Just think of it as when we read, you may see that we have similarities between you and also the information that mentioned in this in the text that we are about to read. So our strategy for today, our reading strategy for today, I would like you to scan the following answers on page 69. So here I have wrote for you 3 questions. And what I would like you to do is that when I finish reading the question, to pause the video and go on page 69 and try to look or try to scan to look for the answer. And as we have learned, what do you mean by scanning is that when you have the text, is that you're going to or you are looking for the answers for the key words that mentioned in these questions. For example, what is a favorite snack in the US? So here we have keywords like, for example, snack, and US. So what you should do is that when you scan, you look for these words, snack, and you look for US. And you will see or you will find the answers. And what you need to do next is that you write down these answers, okay? So let me read you these questions, and after I finish reading this question, I would like you to pause the video and try to scan the answers of these questions, and then you can play it back again and check the answers that I have written here with your own answers, okay? So let's read the questions first. Number 1, what's a favorite snack in the US? Number 2, where did pizza become famous? Where exactly? What kinds what part of the world where pizza became famous? And also, how old is pizza? How old is pizza? So these are the 3 important questions that I would like you to scan their answers. I would like you to scan their answers. So now you can pause the video, and when you finish, play it back again. So I hope that now you have finished scanning the answers. So let's try to find out the answers of these questions. And when we finish, you can check the answers that you have already written. So what is a favorite snack in the US? It is a chocolate chip cookies, according to the text. And also, where did pizza become famous? Where exactly it became famous? In Naples, in Italy. And the third question is, how old is pizza? How old? It is over 100 years old. It is 100 years old. So these are the questions of the questions of this text. So now what I would like to do is to check the answers that you already wrote with these answers, and you see that if there is any matching. So now here we have reached the text. Here I'm going to read this text for you, and as usual I'm going to read it twice. The first time you only listen, you don't have to write anything, you just listen. And for the second time, when I read, you try to follow with me while I read. So for the second time, I'm going to read while pointing at the words that I'm reading. So I would like you to do the same. So the first time, let's just read. Favorite foods around the world. Many of the favorite foods and snacks in the world were accidents. For example, a favorite snack in the US is chocolate chip cookies. In 1930, Miss Wakefield wanted to make cookies for her guests, but she didn't have the baking chocolate that she usually used. She used regular chocolate, but it didn't melt. It stayed in small pieces or chips. Her guests loved them, and chocolate chip cookies became popular everywhere. Flatbread with different toppings was common in many cultures, but it became famous in Naples, Italy, where they added tomatoes and cheese. At first, it was a meal for the poor, but in the 1800s, it became popular with kings and queens. Today, pizza is popular all around the world. So now we have finished reading for the first time, and now what I would like you to do is that follow with me while I read. I'm going to read, I'm going to point to the words that I am reading, and I advise you to do the same. So, favorite foods around the world. Many of the favorite foods and snacks in the world were accidents. For example, a favorite snack in the US is chocolate chip cookies. In 1930, Miss Wakefield wanted to make cookies for her guests, but she didn't have the baking chocolate that she usually used. She used regular chocolate, but it didn't melt. It stayed in small pieces or chips. Her guests loved them, and chocolate chip cookies became popular everywhere. Flatbread or flatbread with different toppings was common in many cultures, but it became famous in Naples, Italy, when they added tomatoes and cheese. At first, it was a meal for the poor, but in the 1800s, it became popular with kings and queens. Today, pizza is popular all around the world. So now here we have read about two different kinds of food, cookies and also pizza, and how all of these food were accident. It means that they happened by chance. No one was planning to make pizza from the start, so it became an accident. Out of nowhere, they made cookies and pizza. So this is a very interesting thing to know. So now here we have reached the after reading questions. So as we always do, here I'm going to read those questions, and me and you will try to find the answers according to the text. So the first question is, who made the first chocolate chip cookies? Who, here we're talking about a person, who made the first chocolate chip cookies? And number two, why were chocolate chip cookies an accident? Why were they an accident? It means why were they made by chance? And number three, where did pizza become popular? Where? Here we're talking about place. Where did pizza become popular and why? And number four, what are some of the most popular dishes in the world? And number five, what ethnic food is popular in your country? So 5 questions. Let's start with the first one. The first one, who made the first chocolate chip cookies? So when we go back to the text, we can see that Miss Wakefield is the person who made the chocolate chip cookies, where she wanted to make cookies for her guests. So we'll go back and we're going to write that Miss Wakefield made the first chocolate chip cookies. The second question, Why were chocolate chip cookies an accident? Why were they an accident? Because, as we have read in this text, they were created by mistake. They were created by mistake. So we can see here in this text that she didn't have the baking chocolate that she usually uses. So she used the regular chocolate, but unfortunately it didn't melt. So it stayed in small pieces or chips. So when she served them to her guest loved them. Her guest loved them, and then it became famous everywhere. So, number 3, where did pizza become popular and why? Where? Here we're talking about place. Where did it become popular and why? So, if we read the second paragraph of this text, we can see that it became famous in Naples, Italy. And why? Because they added tomato and cheese to the flat bread. So here, as you can see here, it became famous in Naples, Italy, where they added tomatoes and cheese. So this is why or how pizza became popular at that time. Number 4, what are some of the most popular dishes in the world? What are some of the most popular dishes in the world? You can see it on the same page. Here you can see pizza, for example. This is from Italy. You can see sushi, a Japanese food, and kebab, which is a Middle and Eastern food, and cookies, which is an American snack, and also you can see kabsa, which is a Saudi food. So here we have different kinds of food. Here we have different kinds of food. So the most popular, we can write down this answer. We can say cookies, kebabs, sushi, and pizza. And you can also add more foods about this. So here, what ethnic food is popular in your country? So in your country, what the kind of food that is mostly popular in your country? Where is it or where does it come from? So we can say, for example, Indian food, Italian food, and also Arabian food. So these are the ethnic food that are popular in our country. So here you have the answers of the after reading questions. And as I said, that question number 4 and question number 5, you can add also or you can have different answers. You can add more to the food or the popular dishes. You can also add more to the ethnic dishes that is available in your country. So now the last part of our lesson today, which is discussion. Is it important to know about different ethnic cuisines? Why or why not? So for example, let's imagine that you like a certain food or you like a specific food and you don't want to change it. And you have a friend of yours, maybe a family member came to you and he invite you to try different ethnic food. So, is it important that you know about this food and you try this food, or it's not important because you're only going to have that or that kind of food or that certain food and you don't like to change it? So let me know, what do you think? Do you agree that it is important to know about different ethnic cuisines or restaurants or foods? Is it important to know this? If you say that, yes, I agree, then tell me why. Why do you agree? Is it because food is something that you enjoy, and when you taste different kinds of food or different kind of dishes, it makes you happy, it makes you alive, it makes you maybe come up with your own recipe sometime? Or you think that or you disagree, you don't think that it's important to know about these kinds of food because maybe you don't like to taste strange or to have strange taste in your mouth. You like only that kind of food and you don't like to change it. So just try to discuss this question with a partner, and let me know what did you come up with, and what are the things that interests you the most. Is it trying different kinds of food, or only sticking with one ethnic food? So now we have reached the end of our lesson. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.